Yesterday was day 21 of the Karen Read trial. This is part 2 of my daily recap. I am filming it a day behind because I was super busy, and I'm also finishing my makeup and trying to be really quick about this. If you missed part 1, please go back and watch that because this is all about to get really interesting. We have Dr. Judson Welcher on the stand, and he gets dressed and shows photos of him in John O'Keefe's clothing all the way down to his shoes. He has the same hat. He says he is 6 foot half an inch and about 205 pounds, I think he said, and he's showing the height of the Lexus. He wants everyone in the jury to keep in mind the height of the right wing lined up perfectly, he says, to his eye. He even went and got the glass from the waterfall. And he has that Lexus that he purchased in the pictures. I'm literally like laughing out loud at this point. Then he puts on the same long sleeve shirt that John has, and he's showing how the contact pattern lines up. He did a test where he like painted some grease paint on his arm, or I'm sorry, on the taillight. He painted the taillight and he stands there with his arm. You guys are going to have to Google this to watch it. It was very interesting. And he hits it at 2 miles per hour. He said he had that car drive into him at very low speeds because he wanted to see where the paint left the impression. There's a sidebar by Alessi, and I need some more blush, a long break. And when we come back from the break, he starts talking about the wind wing again on the back of the car. He says it was 5 feet, about 10.5 inches, and that's where it would have lined up with the laceration on John O'Keefe's eye here. They talk about the right knee abrasion. He says it was about 5 centimeter abrasion, and that appears to be at the level of the back bumper that protrudes out on Karen Read's vehicle. He says the lacerations on the right arm of John O'Keefe and the forearm area are consistent with the geometry and orientation of Karen Read's Lexus. But there was no taillight found in his arm, and there was no DNA of his found on the taillight too. So he does a picture where he's guesstimating where the sneaker, plastic, and everything is found in the front lawn. He shows photos of John's injuries. There's a few objections. The jury leaves, and then we adjust Welcher's PowerPoint. I guess they were showing some images and some wording that was saying like Karen Read hit John O'Keefe, and you can't say stuff like that in court. So they take all of those slides out. He starts talking more about the injuries, and another LOL moment, he asked the judge if he can put on John O'Keefe's hat in the court. Alessi obviously objects to that. Brennan wants to know, did you come to a conclusion to a reasonable degree of certainty if Karen Read's Lexus hit John O'Keefe on January 29, 2022? He says he did come to the conclusion, and this was based on his 131 slide PowerPoint report, John's injuries, the infotainment data, John's data on his cell phone, where the taillight wasn't broken, the evidence at the scene, location, position of arm lacerations, the air temperature, I put a million question marks, location of the fracture on the back of the head, his testing of forces available, etc., etc., etc. There's even more. He lists all of these things that helped him come to a conclusion. Alessi objects because he was reading his report and he didn't ask the judge if he could read it. She says, no, you need to give your opinion based on everything without reading your report. So he does that again. He adds that he looks at Miss Read's interviews as well. So we get to the opinion, and because he asked, did you come to an opinion? And now what is that opinion? And coming to that opinion is different. What is the opinion? The way he tries to answer it, Alessi objects and they strike his answer. There's a sidebar, and we end the day basically with the jury leaving on a expert's opinion being stricken from the record, which is crazy. We get into a little bit of argument now outside of the presence of the jury. Alessi is saying that, you know, in another like case, like you can't ask the expert if the victim was stabbed with this knife. He says that the defense has substantial info that a collision did not occur, so the judge is going to rule on that today at some point. They are starting court late. Right now it's 9:39 a.m. on Wednesday. They're supposed to start around 10 a.m. today. So I'm hoping that we're going to get into the cross-examination. I think Brennan said he had a little bit more questioning to do, but It's been a lot. I wish I was able to show you guys a lot of the screenshots that I took, but I read off my teleprompter, so I couldn't. But anything I missed, please leave it in the comments.